Hello and welcome to the Galactic Court podcast. I'm Andy and I'm your host, as each week I discuss the latest TV episodes, films and whatever else that takes my fancy from the worlds of Star Wars, Marvel, DC and anything else nerdy and geeky in between. If this is the first time that you found us, then please give us a follow on our social media. You will find us on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube and also on Twitch, where I game a couple of times a week. You can find all the links in the episode description, so please make sure that you give the show a like, a follow and a review on whichever platform that you listen or watch on. It really does mean the world to hear that you are liking and enjoying the show. In today's episode, we are going to be discussing Marvel Secret Invasion Episode 4. And tonight I am joined by two heavyweights of the Marvel podcasting world. I'm also hoping that the real deal is here tonight and I've not been given some meaningless scrolls in their place. But they do host one of the most popular podcasts around, and I know for a fact that they are well loved by the rest of the nerd and geek podcast community. But please welcome to the show Devin and Louis from the Earth 894 podcast.
Hey there, Andy.
Hello.
Oh man,
Welcome to the show, guys. How are you doing?
Doing pretty damn good. I mean, after that intro, oh wow, even if we were scrolls, which I'm not saying we're not, I think we
are.
Still feel very warmed. Our green hearts. I don't know if they're green. I just assume they're green hearts. But yeah,
Scrolls are people too. Scrolls are scrolls too.
Scrolls are
Scrolls have
friends.
feelings too.
Scrolls are friends, not food, right? Is that how it goes?
Something like that.
Wrong fandom. Anyways.
They deserve to be loved just like anyone else. I really appreciate you guys coming on. It's a real honor to have you on. Like I said, you're so well known in sort of our community and really well loved. So I'm more than happy that you guys have found some time to jump on today. I just want to really get to know you guys a little bit better and obviously let the audience as well. So, you guys do a MCU podcast or Marvel podcast. What is it about Marvel and the MCU that you guys love so much that makes you want to do a show and talk about it?
Ooh, I think Louis should be the one to start this answer off because he is the guy who got me into Marvel. So if there's the MCU to the point that I feel passionate about it more than I do some other fandoms. So I think Louis would be the one to kick us off here.
Oh, thank you. Why do we love Marvel? Have you seen any of the movies? They're so fun. It's just in a world as shitty as ours, it's nice to watch a world where like Iron Man can come out and just blast somebody, or Spider-Man's doing all sorts of cool flippy tricks, and even the villains are cool, and it's just lots of fun. There's this is connected to that, as Devin always says. It's all connected, man. Almost to the point of annoyance. But
that's up for debate.
God, we've been watching. I think the two of us watched Avengers together on DVD at a buddy's house.
Yeah, and a
2013,
DVD. A DVD.
10 years ago.
Not even a Blu-ray.
Yeah.
A DVD.
10 years ago or so. So once WandaVision came out, we were like in the middle of COVID, and we were like, I started a different podcast, and Devin was like, I'm thinking about doing a Marvel show. And I hadn't talked to Devin in a while. He's like, you want to be my co-host? I said, do I have to try out? And he's like, no, it's either you or I'm just not going to do it. I was like, oh, well, it sounds like I don't have a choice. So here we are.
You got voluntold to do a
later.
podcast too. Here we are.
Sounds very much like a marriage between Nick Fury and Priscilla, to be fair.
Ooh. Spicy.
Both sat down there, recited some Avengers poems to each other, and then you've been together ever since.
Yeah, essentially.
Basically.
And I live in the walls at Louis' house, and his lovely wife Hannah and their two children are very gracious to allow me just to be my scroll self, walk around. Sometimes I'm a cat. They don't know. Surprise, Louis. I'm also a scroll shape-shifting flirkin
from American Dad.
Oh man.
So obviously post Endgame, there's been a lot of people talking down about the MCU. It's maybe not the same quality that it has been. The excessive amount of shows and films that we got through Phase 4 has maybe dampened a few people as well. So, what do the MC need to do to keep you guys coming back again and again for the next 10, 20 years? We know obviously they've got plans here, phase 6 and 7, and they're going to be working on plans beyond that, we know, because they've got things they want to bring in, mainly the X-Men and things like that, beyond phases 6 and 7. So what is it that Marvel can do to keep you guys coming back and keep you guys as faithful fans?
Ooh, what a good question.
I don't consider myself a critic as much. There hasn't been a movie besides the Eternals that I've watched where I've been like, this was absolute dog water. This was terrible. I didn't like this at all. Usually I find the good in every movie. Even the Eternals, had I sat there and watched it all the way through, I'd probably enjoy it. But for me, as long as you put the word Marvel in front of a movie, I'm probably going to enjoy it. I didn't think Morbius was that bad. I thought it wasn't that good, but I'd watch it again. We're going to watch it again, but it was fine. For me, as long as the heroes are heroine and they stay at least somewhat, what's the word I'm looking for here? Faithful to the source material, I don't see why I would stop going to the show. So I have two kids, a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old, and as they grow up, hopefully they come to the movies with me, and I could show them Iron Man from when I was a little kid, all the way to freaking Miles Morales whenever they come out with him, or God only knows where they're going to be 10 years from now.
You know what's crazy, Louis?
Just quickly,
as you say, are you gonna say?
Sorry, you carry on.
I was gonna say, if I laugh, Louis, because you said show them Iron Man like when you were a little kid, and you and I were in middle school. I don't know if you thought of that as a little kid, but
that's still a little kid, don't you think?
I don't know. Well,
I didn't have a mortgage when Iron Man came out.
I had a somewhat serious girlfriend, so I don't know if I'd consider myself a child. I was a young man at that point, young adult. But besides that point, I probably was more of a child. Yep. Yeah, what's your point?
That's a kid. You were a kid. 7th grade, you're a kid, man.
I was a teenager. I'm a teen.
I was going to say, for the English listeners, can you quantify the age of what 7th grade is?
Oh, yeah. 7th grade is like
12?
12 to about 14.
Okay, so over here, that's 14, like grade 7 or 8.
14, you're a freshman in high school.
Hey, I was 14
13,
in
you're
8th grade.
in 8th grade.
It's not my fault. I got held back.
You were
in
12.
Preschool. They held me back in preschool, or else I'd be in the same grade as you. We both would have graduated high school in 2012, and I would have been in my age group. But you know what? They said I wasn't mature enough. Believe that. A fucking preschooler, sorry if I'm not allowed to swear, is not allowed to be going into kindergarten as a 4-year-old, 5-year-old, because they thought I was not mature enough. You cut the teacher's hand with scissors one time when you're 4, and they don't let you proceed. But you know what? I think it worked out.
You make me feel old, though, because in 2008, when Iron Man first came out, I was 25.
Heck yeah. Nice,
24.
Man. You know what? You don't look a day over 26.
Oh, well.
And that's an all sincerity. I never guess people's ages because I don't know. And I don't know. It's one of those things. But
I think my hairline would really disagree with that statement, but it's all
fame.
Believe us. We know, man. We're all in that game. But to answer your question, just go on too much, but like on top of what Louis said, I mean, what keeps you here? I really agree with the source material, but more so like the story. As long as you're telling me a good story and it doesn't feel like you're just really trying to milk what you have and it's like gassed and it's like powdered and you run on fumes, that'll keep going. And I think one of the things that I hope to have that I'm really like stoked that parents like Louis will eventually get to do soon is like take your children to see like a brand new Marvel movie in theaters and they can actually remember it. Same thing with Star Wars. Like I would kill to do that. I am currently not having children anytime soon or in a position to have any, unless my cat can go to the movie theater with me and she'll have a good time. So that's one thing I think is just really cool is like being able to like experience it with other people. And
Yeah.
as long as they keep telling me stories of Spider-Man, then I'm good.
So Louis, because you said you got a couple of young children, when you start taking them through an MCU journey of watching all the films from the start, are you going to make them wait a year between watching Infinity War and Endgame so they go through the same pain that we did? I think it's only fair. I think it's only fair, surely.
I do a week. So like we'll pick a day of the week, a Thursday or whenever. We'll watch a movie every Thursday. That's how I've done it forever. Every rewatch I do is like, okay, and we're starting with Iron Man, and we are going to watch The Incredible Hulk, damn it.
Hey, The Incredible Hulk actually isn't
when
that
I have
bad.
a kid old enough. No, it's actually a decent film. It's nice to see it on Disney Plus now as well.
Yeah.
I love that movie. So
Louis got me drinking the green Kool-Aid.
When I have kids, I'm definitely making them wait a year. I'm hiding the DVD players. I'm locking them out of Disney Plus. They're not going to get to watch that for a year. They're going to go through the same pain.
Nope.
Nice.
You say that.
I respect that.
No.
I respect that. Because you know what you're doing? You're making sure that they really want it.
Feel the anxiety and the despair that we had to go through of watching that. They have to go through the same. Otherwise, what's the point? I've got to emotionally scar them a little bit, surely.
Kids are so annoying. They're just you're gonna be like, fine, and turn it on. If we watch Across the Spider-Verse, guess what? We're watching Beyond the Spider-Verse either the next day or right after the damn movie ends, because they're just gonna be like, can we watch it? And I'd be like, no, we have to wait a year. And they'd be like, I'm not waiting a year, dad. And then I'll just turn the damn thing on.
Question though, I've never really thought about it like this. Do you think there's anything that is better if you don't watch it back to back? Like if you actually take a little bit of a break before you watch the next thing, even if it's already available. Like it's almost like a opposite or reverse binge watch. I don't know. Because I wonder if it's something better.
Interesting question.
Sit. Yeah.
Like marinating a steak.
Sure. I think
it's an interesting question to even think about which ones you could leave a gap between to really have an impactful sort of future viewing of it.
The only one that I can kind of see, I mean, this is crossing fandoms here to a galaxy far, far away in Star Wars. Sam Witwer made a really good revelation years ago on some type of interview he was on, talking about, and if you guys don't know who Sam Witwer is, he's the voice of Darth Maul in the animated series for Star Wars and yada, yada. He's awesome. But he said, people are like, how do you feel about the watch order? Do you go machete order? Do you go blah, blah, blah? He's like, no, what you do if you're going to introduce a kid to Star Wars, you have them on the Clone Wars, right? Get them familiarized with Anakin, Ahsoka, and all the gang and everything. Just watch it. It's a cartoon. Have a good time. But then you show them A New Hope. And then you have them watch Empire Strikes Back. And when they find out the reveal of, spoilers alert, Darth Vader is freaking Luke Skywalker's dad. He's Anakin Skywalker. Don't let the kids finish the Clone Wars series, but they're going to be like, what? Because they know Anakin. They know Sky Guy. And then you bring them all the way back to episode 1, 2, and 3. And then you go back to Return of the Jedi, because then they could see, how the hell did he get to that point? That's, I think, the only thing I could think that's somewhat similar. And I want to try that so bad. I was like, damn, that's pretty cool. I wish I could wipe my memory, then do it all over again. Because I'd be like, holy Bantha Poodoo. I don't know. It'd be insane. Yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah, I'm enjoying that. I mean, you've just ruined the surprise for Louis of Vader and Anakin, but
he was in a trivia contest. He had to study. He knows.
I never thought about the way of doing Clone Wars first before doing like a machete type running. To be fair, that's interesting.
It was pretty cool.
Louis giving the proper stink eye right now. So
machete order. That's the
machete.
Danny Trejo is machete. Yeah,
machete.
That's his preferred order. I feel it makes sense.
The Danny Trejo order. I love it.
Yeah.
But speaking of Star Wars, to be fair, it was going to be my next question to you guys. I know Louis, you're not a big Star Wars person. I know Devin, you kind of are. I mean, Louis, just before I ask the question, are you a big DC fan at all?
I wouldn't say big, but I do watch the movies, and I am in love with Batman. So
He's got the Batman symbol tattooed on his chest. He's just being humble.
that's not true. That's not true. I'd show you, but my chest is gross, so you don't want to see that. No, I do like. I like DC. I think DC has better animated stuff than Marvel.
Definitely.
But like DC also has this thing going on where there's 3 active Jokers right now, which is weird. And there's a bunch of Batmen, and it's like they need to oh man, my thoughts are going faster than my mouth. James Gunn is my favorite director. So like the Guardians movies and the Suicide Squad I really loved. Peacemaker was tits. It was great. So him taking over the whole shit and shebang is like the best thing ever to me. I feel like it's going to be awesome. So I'm super excited about Superman Legacy. I've never been excited for a Superman anything in my life. So to have him do Superman, just take my money. Yeah.
That's fair. So if you could have a dream crossover from another franchise with the MCU, so whether that's Star Wars or DC or anything else that you love as a big sort of sci-fi type franchise. So, you know, that moment in Endgame when Carol Danvers appears because they're like, oh, what are they shooting at? And they're like, there's something in the upper atmosphere. And Carol Danvers come crashing down. If that moment you could have like, you know, Vader and the Imperial fleet turn up, or Darkseid and his army, or anything else from any other sort of sci-fi franchise that could cross over to the MCU, what would you really, really want to see?
It'd be the boys, and it'd be the love sausage coming down from the sky.
Can I even top that? I mean, talk about a power top, right? I mean, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
I love the boys so much. Or Invincible. I can't wait for Invincible season 2. But I mean, if I had to see a crossover, I guess you said crossover, and the first thing I thought was the boys, but then you explained the Endgame thing, and then the boys doesn't make any sense anymore.
No, it makes total sense. I pictured it.
Oh, I mean, yeah.
Regrettably, but I pictured it. Just imagine
Homelander coming in from the sky.
Homelander comes down, and the rest of them come out the portals.
I mean, you were worried about Ant-Man
like Benny
going
Butcher's there, like, I'm gonna fucking knock your head off, Thanos, you cunt. So yeah.
Yeah, Billy Butcher against Thanos would be pretty cool. Just call him a cunt.
That was a great Butcher impression.
That was pretty good. Damn, dude.
What about you, Devin? What would your fantasy crossover be?
JJ the jet plane comes down and just
nobody knows what that is. Pick
exactly.
Better.
JJ. Okay. You got me with the fucking love sausage one that I was too dumbfounded. Okay, give me. All right, here's one. Somewhat serious, somewhat not. I like Gundam, and if anyone's familiar with Mobile Suit Gundam, just like the anime and all that from like the 80s and 70s and all that, massive. Bring me a fucking Gundam mobile suit coming down. If you guys have seen Ready Player One, if you know the one time in the big ass battle in the movie, not the book, in the book in there too. But the RX-78 Gundam comes down and they do a little cool shish and bang, as you say. Give me the fucking Gundam. Give me Gundam. Fucking
Gundam.
Give me Gundam Unicorn coming down. Gundam. Give me Gundam Unicorn.
Gundams are cool, but how about like a whole ass Megazord just taking out one of those sky whales?
Yeah, that'd be kind of cool.
Dun, 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 dun,
Go Power Rangers.
I didn't even think about the Power Rangers, to be fair.
Oh, I loved the
That'd
Power
be a good
Rangers.
choice. Original Power Rangers, though, that I grew up watching in like the 90s. I can't go for any other group.
One more one to throw out there.
I'll take any of them.
Dom Toretto comes flying down in whatever fucking car he's driving. It comes down. He's with his pure white, never gets dirty Diego T wife beater, just full on with this
family.
Who are you? It's family. I'm here for family. You can't snap my family away.
Yeah. And then Groot's just like, what?
There
and that'd be what he talks English. Just goes, what? But yeah, give me Dom Toretto. Why not?
I think yeah. I think I might stand up and walk out at that point, but not a huge Fast and Furious fan personally, but
Hey, you know what?
well, that's all good.
But Fast and Furious, you want to cross over with Fast and Furious? Give me the Jurassic and the Furious, or the Fast and the Jurassic. Give me dinosaurs with fucking family. Like, just imagine all of Fast and Furious crew driving through like Isla Nublar, and there's a fucking T-Rex, and then Dom goes and he has to race a fucking velociraptor. He has to race on a velociraptor, which he somehow finds a way to put Nos up its ass so he can really ride it, and then that's like his way of going through it. Yeah. And Louis giving that look like this guy's never gonna have us on a podcast.
Too Jurassic, too Furious.
There you go.
Nice. I like
Fast
it.
in the Cretaceous.
Hey man, you're British. What if in the battle of Endgame there's fucking Harry Potter out there Expelliarmusing people?
I'm not a Potter fan, to be honest.
Well, turn in your accent. That's all I got to say about that.
Damn.
I would quite happily watch Potter get crushed by Thanos. I would not object to seeing that.
Wow.
To be fair.
Well, all Harry Potter knows how to do is just Expelliarmus in the movies and stuff. So all you'd have to do is try and do that one spell. If it doesn't work, he's done.
Just need Molly Weasley out there yelling at Thanos. Not my daughter, you bitch. Bah!
That'd be funny.
Kills his ass right there.
Damn.
Finn on the fucking screen. Sign
How about
me
you,
up.
Andy? What would your pick be?
Yeah, I'm sure you guys can see from what's behind me is that I have a very particular, a very hardcore taste for one thing over everything else.
Heck yeah.
Which is for those only listening to the audio version right now, Louis gone so close I can see his nostril hairs to the camera.
Okay.
Looking at
I see it
the
now.
lovely little Star Wars collection that's behind me every week. So I'd love to see Star Wars in the MCU crossover. Doesn't even have to be Vader although Vader is my favorite all-time character. You throw any Star Wars out there, and I would be watching it. I do watch any Star Wars that's out there as it is. So you take any set of characters from Star Wars and cross that over into Marvel and the MCU, I would be more than happy. I love this sort of argument, though, that's been around for the last few years of who would win in a fight between Vader and Thanos with the gauntlet. And everyone's just like, Vader would have pummeled him straight away because he just needs to use the Force and chop his arm off with a lightsaber. Doesn't even need to do anything, can just Force choke him.
Yeah.
I think it's an interesting debate who would win. I mean, Thanos with the gauntlet, maybe it would be quick enough to snap and just erase him from existence, but I'd like to see that battle.
You know, I think honestly, who's the winner in that battle? It's us. Because I don't care who fucking wins or they both lose.
Yeah.
I would love to watch Vader face off against Thanos. Give me Babu Frick versus Darth Vader.
You
Give me Babu.
fucking you fucking took my thing. I was gonna say Babu Frick versus Baby Groot. I'd rather watch that.
Well, they kind of had that in The Mandalorian.
In a death match.
Yeah, that would be my crossover. I would be like that meme. I'm just like, take all my money. I'm there.
Take all my money. The fry. Hell yeah.
And I'd be there every day watching it. So
Worth.
But I've got a nice little sort of game for us to play. It's
I thought that was the game. Here we go.
not quite. No, this is a nice little homage to you guys and a segment that you do on your show that you call MCU for You, which I know you generally just talk about any sort of potential updates in your life with any new Marvel stuff or MCU stuff, whether you've got some new pops or there's something you're going to go see or that you bought. But my show, my little game for you guys is called MCU or Real Life You. I don't have any flashy music or any Louis singing bits that I can play at this moment in time.
Careful what you wish for.
The idea of this game is that I'm going to give you an MCU character, the real life actor that played them, and then your podcast counterpart, and you're going to tell me who you would like to have dinner with. So we're going to start off. This first one goes to you, Louis. So would you rather have dinner with Tony Stark, Robert Downey Jr., or your co-host Devin?
If you pick me, you're a fucking idiot.
Yeah,
I'd rather have dinner with Devin. I'm not a big Iron Man guy. He's kind of an ass. I'd rather have dinner with Devin.
What about Robert Downey Jr.? Do you not want to sit down and have some munch with him?
I mean, he seems like he's kind of an ass too. I don't know. I like
Who
Devin.
are you?
What?
You
I was
would
gonna
turn
see if you-
down dinner with even RDJ to have dinner with
Why are
me.
you
You can have
yelling
dinner
at
with
me
me
right
any
now?
fucking day of the week.
I was going to ask you if you wanted to get ice cream tomorrow, but you have band practice, so no, I fucking can't get dinner with you whenever I
Well,
want,
ice cream
Devin.
isn't dinner. Ice cream is not dinner, and you know damn well you don't want to go and get ice cream with me because you know exactly what's going to happen.
I wanted to go to Rainbow Cone. It's by your house.
Oh yeah, I still haven't gone yet. We should go.
Move
Feel
on,
like
Devin.
I'm- feel like I'm in the middle of a lover spat right now, but yes, let's.
All right, I want
let's-
to change my answer. I'd rather just eat by myself because this guy's being a jerk off.
I'm sorry, but Louis, you're full of shit. You're too humble. Like you wouldn't have dinner with RDJ or even Iron Man or Tony Stark
mean-
or fucking I don't know. Even his what if his okay. What if it was
If he was like, "Hey, come have dinner with me," maybe I would, but I don't like. If I wouldn't go seek him out and be like, "Have dinner with me, man. Come on."
but in this scenario you,
You know, I
could. He's telling you that you could actually have dinner with him. And you're saying no.
I mean, sure, but like if it was like life or I don't. Why are you yelling at me right now? My God,
Because-
this is supposed to be a fun game.
I feel
I
like
already
Devin's
had-
crossed that path into taking it so seriously that he's like going to write out a list of the reasons why you should not have dinner with him and should be with Tony Stark instead.
Yeah.
If I already had plans with you, I wouldn't be like, "Hey, Devin, sorry, fuck yourself. I'm going out with fucking Iron Man right now."
I would not be
So,
mad. I would be like,
whatever.
I would tell you that I'm like, Louis, I will break my own fucking leg so I can't even go to dinner right now if that means I have to get you to go do it. Like, I will go on a 4-day fast. I will go on a hunger strike. I want to know who else you're going to ask. There's got to be someone Louis will say yes to.
Well, we've got 3 each to do with these, so
okay,
let's
gotcha,
see if he
my
agrees
bad,
to
my
end the
bad.
others. So, Devin, the one for you, I've got for you is the Ancient One, Tilda Swinton, or your co-host Louis.
Go with her. I don't want to eat with you.
Do I need to just eliminate you guys out of the question and just pick one of the other two for dinner now?
No, it's-
Oh no, this is funny because now it gets personal. Like, because now it's like who is the lowest person you'd go with, in order to like go with it? Like, would you rather go out with this person or like I don't know? I just feel like it's a fun way to be like, oh, so I'm not. You're too good for them, but not for this one. Like, I don't know. It's funny. I would say yes. I will go out to dinner with Tilda Swinton because she looks like just watching her other things, like even
Fuck
The
me,
Dead Don't
right?
Die. She just seems crazy. And I would love to just listen to her because I feel like I don't know, it'd be an experience. And I would tell Louis about it, and he'd be like, "Oh yeah, well, you know, my dinner with RDJ was actually pretty cool. He took me in all his hot rods. He gave me a car. He let me put on the suit, and then he showed me his windmill at his place, and it was pretty good." Yeah.
In no world would I fit into Robert Downey Jr.'s Iron Man suit. I'm the biggest person alive.
No, you're not.
Also, we did the Multiverse of March Madness tournament last year, and your character wiped my character to the fucking floor, man. The Ancient One annihilated Iron Man in round 1. That happened. Sorry. Go on, Devin.
I rest my case.
Okay, so moving on then for you, Louis. I feel like I shouldn't be asking this anymore. Bucky Barnes, Sebastian Stan, or Devon?
Man, I don't love Bucky Barnes.
Man, I'm picking the good ones for you.
You're
today, aren't
fine. It's let me rephrase that. I get
This
into
guy.
a lot of spats with my buddies, especially my best friend who just moved away. He's a big Bucky Barnes fan. And the way that I've always explained it to him is that like Tony Stark has Rhodey, Captain America has Bucky Barnes. Like they're equals to me. And he's just like, "No, Bucky's way better than Rhodey." And I was like, I mean, is he? He's just a brooding butthead with a metal arm. Like, I don't know. I've watched Sebastian Stan on Hot Ones. I'll have chicken wing lunch with Sebastian Stan over literally doing anything with Devin ever again.
I've ruined the,
Was that so
the
hard?
894 podcast, it seems.
Oh
So
man,
for you then, Devon, your next choice.
hit me.
I've got Agent Coulson, Clark
Oh, it's
Gregg
Coulson.
No, yep,
or
yep.
Louis?
Sorry, Lou. Sorry, Lou.
It's
Agent
Coulson. He
Yep,
loves
we're
Coulson
good.
so
We're
much.
good.
Yeah.
Check, please. We're good.
I
I did
did
the
pick
Ancient
that one
one.
for you because I know you're an Agents of Shield fan.
Oh,
So
God, fuck yes. Oh, man.
yeah, I know you're an Agents of Shield fan, so I thought I'd throw that one out for you.
Just a tiny bit. It's just a little bit. I have my Coulson Funko somewhere, but I think he's in a closet. But yeah, good pull. Sorry, Lou. I like that Louis was like, before he even finished that, he was like, yeah, no way. You got him.
He said, Agent, and I said, yeah, I'm cooked here, buddy.
Done.
If Agent Coulson and I were both dangling off a cliff and Devin had enough strength to pull up both of us, he would still let me go just to make sure Coulson would get safe onto land.
No. That is not true. I just dropped
I'm guessing
myself
we're
because then I
lucky-
can't feel guilty.
I'm guessing we're lucky I didn't pick Quake then, to be fair. So
I'm going to plead the fifth on that
that
one.
just says it all.
I'm going to plead the fifth.
Right, your final choice then, Louis. Peggy Carter, Haley
Yes.
Atwell, or
Yes,
Devon?
yes, yes,
I knew it.
yes, yes,
I
yes,
fucking knew it.
yes,
Let's
100%.
go, Louis.
Yeah, she's the best. Yeah, number one. She's my number one. Absolutely.
Peggy or Haley? Which one are you going for?
Yes, all of them.
Yes.
Both of them.
I
Have
take
you
back
seen
everything
her?
I said.
Have you seen her promoting the new Mission Impossible movie? I love her so much. I love her so much. She's the best thing to come out of England since the Galactic Core podcast. Like,
Aw.
I love her so much.
I appreciate that, even if it's not true. I appreciate that.
Oh, man. Yeah,
So
that's a good one.
The
That's
last
good.
Yeah.
one for you then, Devon. The last one for you. Killmonger, Michael B. Jordan, or Louis? Who are you going to dinner with?
Ooh, I'm going to go 3 for 3 here. I'm sorry, Lou, but Michael B. Jordan's pretty fucking dope. Oh, that'd be sick. That'd be sick. That dude is a cool ass dude. And I could talk Gundam with him because I know he's an anime dude. Ugh.
Devin's recently back in the gym, so he can get some gym tips as well.
Yeah, that helped too. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, random fact for you, Michael B. Jordan is also one of the part owners in the consortium that own my local football club.
No shit. What football club?
Yeah. Without giving away where I live, but
Okay.
AFC Bournemouth.
Bournemouth. Okay.
AFC
okay.
Bournemouth in the Premier League. They're owned by this consortium, and he's one of the. And he's been down to a couple of games already. To be fair, so
Oh, sick. That's nice, man.
it's really random that he's coming to our crap little town.
You know what? Funny you say that though, because like literally, I just saw like an hour ago. I was scrolling through Reddit and I saw that there was 2 sightings of Jamie Foxx in a town literally 10 minutes away from me. And yeah, he was apparently at Top Golf and somewhere else in good old Naperville, Illinois, or as people from Chicago call it, Chicago.
He went to Rainbow Cone, and you could have seen him with me if you weren't out with Michael B. Jordan and Tilda Swinton.
Yeah, Electro was down the street, bro.
Nice. Cool.
That was
Well,
a fun
thank
game,
you
man.
for playing, guys, and sorry for destroying your friendship.
I'm sorry we ruined your game.
Yes. Sorry. Yeah, that was really fun. Actually, I love that. That was good answers.
It's all good. It was just trying to have a little fun and pay homage to your guys' love of the MCU and the characters that I know that you guys like. So let's move on to the reason. It's all good. Let's move on to the reason we're here today then, and to talk about Secret Invasion. So on to episode 4, which is entitled Beloved, or Beloved, depending on which way you want to say it. How are you guys feeling about this series so far? And I say this knowing full well how Louis feels about this. So let's let Louis go first, and then we can get to a positive note with Devon.
I always go first. It's fine. I don't know what's going on most of the time. Devin was right at the beginning of the episode. Freaking Gaia gets up or whatever, and I was like, of course he's right. He's right about everything because he's freaking Devin. But it's, I don't know. Like, I don't know how to explain it. All these shows are introducing these new characters that you're supposed to care a lot about, where this show is bringing back an old character that you do care about, but now you don't care about him in this show. I feel like is is Fury like, is anybody like, yeah, Fury, let's go? He's 100 years old. Like, I don't know. So it's strange to me, but I still watch every week. Like I said, as long as you slap a Marvel logo in front of something, I'm gonna watch or I'm gonna play. So as far as that goes, that's where I'm at.
Devon, first 3 episodes that we've seen before this week's episode, how have you been feeling on the show so far?
I really love scrolls because I am one. I really love the color green because I am a scroll and scrolls are green. But in all seriousness, I really like the show so far, but I'm starting to feel a little less confident on where it's heading, especially with how short this last episode was. But what I do enjoy is that this is definitely a more serious show. I'll kind of accredit it to something similar that, Star Wars just found great success with Andor. That's a very adult show. Not like, like they're cussing all the time. Well, they kind of did. But it was proof of concept. Like you could still tell these stories to like a different audience and still keep the core of what it is. Like central to the story. Like what is Star Wars still exists in that show.
Core.
Yeah. But like just with Secret Invasion, like I think the show is really becoming more of a Nick Fury origin story to an extent, which was what I was not expecting. And I'll talk more about that when we talk about episode 4. But I think maybe I should not have read the comics, the entire like Secret Invasion series before this show, because I think I put the anticipation in my own head a little bit when I sure as hell know that that's not the story they're telling.
It is something I've spoken previously about, maybe a disadvantage sometimes when you read the comic book story and then you go to watch the film or TV series that they're basing it off, but only basing it off really in name and maybe a little connection to it, obviously here and there. But
right,
yeah, it's something I've spoken about. Sometimes it can be downplays in your head. I think I spoke about it when I reviewed The Flash because I'm a huge Flashpoint fan in terms of the original comic story, the animated film, and then you watch this film and go, oh, maybe my prejudice of my love for that story got in the way of really liking this one.
Good point. What do you think so far about the Secret Invasion?
I'm actually a big fan of it so far. I've really been enjoying it. It's been, I think each episode has been quite emotional. Because it's really played on this thing that you can't really trust anyone because you don't know who is going to be a Skrull. The scene in last week's episode, which we knew was coming from the trailer, but where Talos and Gravik are chatting in that cafe or whatever it was, and then he grabs him and everyone in the room turns into a Skrull. And it's like you literally couldn't have told before that anyone else in that room was a Skrull, and then they're all of a sudden they're all there. So it's just they're just sowing the seed of Nick's gone through the whole story of since the blip he's been down, he's been out, he's just not been the same because he spent all these years building everything up to fight every scenario that he could think of, and all of a sudden something happened that was so far out of his control that it's destroyed him, and he realized that what was the point in doing anything anymore? He just can't continue. So he's been up on Saber, just monitoring that, whatever Saber's going to be, which I'm sure we'll find out a bit more in the Marvel's film. But yeah, a man destroyed. He's coming back and he's getting his groove back, and they're just sowing the seeds of you can't trust anyone around you. And Nick's now got to learn that he's got to go back to being the old badass Nick Fury who needs to do it on his own. Which, to be fair, we always thought Nick Fury was the guy that did it by himself and built himself up and built the spy network, until it's been revealed in the series that he did it on the back of Skrulls doing it for him.
Right.
So does this change our perception of Nick Fury from the past? A little bit, but I still am anticipating in the next couple of episodes, in the next few weeks, that we're going to get this perception of the old Nick Fury that we liked back. This badass guy. We're going to see him with his eye patch and his long leather jacket on, and he's going to kick some Gravik ass, so to speak.
Oh yeah, I like it.
Louie's not convinced by my argument there.
No, I am. the whole thing is weird to me because he's like got all these connections, and Gravik is really close to like taking over the world, and he's just not calling anybody. It's strange to me that this guy's like, now he's full superhero and he knows it. And it's like, hey, Spider-Man, hey, Carol, hey, fucking literally anybody, come to help me, please, for the love of God. This guy's about to take over the world. And he's like, no, I could do it. I'm 80 and walk with a limp, and I only got one eye, but I'm going to stop this guy that's got the powers of the Fantastic Four, but not really. It's strange to me.
Did you buy into his theory in the last couple of episodes of his reasoning for not bringing in any of the other superheroes? That the Skrulls can obviously imitate how they look, and they can go out and kill a bunch of people, cause reputational damage, so to speak, and perhaps the real version of those Avengers or superheroes are then arrested or put under the trial of the public eye, so to speak. And it destroys their reputation as superheroes? Or do you think that was a bit weak? Because you're like, realistically, you could bring in the proper Avengers and the proper superheroes and get this over and done with really quickly.
Well, I mean, I think the number one thing
that's
is
a little bit weak.
It is, but I think we all know the number one reason. If you want it to happen, you write it. But if you're going to get it to happen in a TV show, you already know how expensive those mofos are. No way you're going to get that.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
So you got to write around it. But at the same time, like, I kind of like the way they kind of try to play a little bit both sides, showing that Nick Fury says, no, I can't risk that. Like, I mean, totally agree. I mean, imagine, let's not even say Spider-Man. Let's say someone who's more public facing, like not Thor. That's a hard one. Let's say Ant-Man, right?
Ant-Man,
normal guy.
Yeah.
Ant-Man comes out, and we know what he looks like. He's not hiding his identity. Yada yada. He kills someone in cold blood. Because all you really need is a suit, right? You don't need the powers. You can make it instantly look believable. And then you're like, oh, shoot, what'd I do? Like, how do you fix this? And the fact that, we've seen that the Super Skrulls are now in existence and they're working, it makes even that more terrifying that they can kind of do stuff. So, I mean, I think if they've already got this stuff figured out, it'd be I guess I'm on the side of Nick Fury. You want to do as much damage control if you want, not calling that department, but you want to keep it's kind of like what they did with Vision, right? In Infinity War, they needed to keep him away from Thanos because he had the stone and Vision was powerful. They were trying to get it out. They failed, but ultimately they had to keep him away, and that was one of the things they argued too. And Vision was like, just kill me, dude. Just kill me. So I think that's kind of the same play here. It's like we just got to keep them as far away as possible because it's a risk, which might not be worth the reward, because if you fall through, I mean, goddamn, if they got like Thor's powers somehow, which I doubt, but still, like, just even the strength alone, like, that is terrifying. And then multiply that by 1 million, and woo, we dead at Reno.
Yeah, I think that's pretty fair. So then we jump into then episode 4. So left on that cliffhanger last week of Gaia being shot by Gravik. Obviously, I don't think any of us really thought that she was going to be truly dead. You don't bring Emilia Clarke in for 3 bit part episodes. Louis, you got your hand up there. Did you genuinely think? Yes,
I kind of did. When she died, I went, "Wow, didn't see that coming." And then, of course, Devin was like, "Yeah, that's because she's not dead, dummy." And I went, "Oh, well, that's annoying." I think it would have been more impactful had she been dead. But, he also called what happened at the end of this episode, which I also did not see coming. But we'll get to that. Continue.
Yeah. I thought it was a good shock moment to obviously have a shot at the end of the last episode, but I think for various reasons, I was never going to believe she was actually dead. One, you don't bring Emilia Clarke in to play a bit part in 3 episodes and then kill her off like that. 2, I've heard it spoken a few times by a few different people about some spoilers that a lot of trailers seem to spoil things nowadays, and we see scenes that have yet to come with Emilia Clarke in.
Exactly.
So it was always obvious that she wasn't really going to be dead at that point. But we get the explanation as to how she survives at the beginning of this episode. She went off. She gave herself extremist powers by jumping into that machine. So she's able to come back to life. And she's all good to go again. So she's going to be obviously incredibly hard to kill moving forward at all from now on. And then we get this flashback to 2012. I like that in almost every episode we've had a sort of flashback filling in a little bit more of the story behind what's happened to the Skrulls. Then obviously a big jump though from 98 to sort of 2012. Fury's meeting Priscilla in a restaurant. They're having a bit of a chat. They mention obviously that the Avengers facing Loki in New York had just seemed to have happened. And then they have this sort of like flirty conversation again where they're sort of making a bit of moves on each other via poetry. And it's obviously just filling in a bit more of their backstory and how they seem to maybe get together. You guys been liking the flashback scenes that we've been getting in every episode? Do you think it's needed, or is it just sort of filler, so to speak, of the backstory?
That's a good
It's
question.
certainly needed. You don't think?
I mean, I think sometimes flashbacks, when you rely on them too much, it can be kind of daunting, especially when like this episode was 38 minutes and that's counting the credits. So, I mean, I literally sat down and I was like, that's it. And we not wasted, that's not fair to say, but there was a lot of it spent on that like flashback exposition. It's cool. And that's why I say, I feel like the show has become really just a backdoor, Nick Fury origin story. I mean, we learned already so much because of the Skrulls. We keep learning about now he has a wife, and the only criticism I'll give is that you're doing this in 6 episodes and you're trying to do a lot of flashbacks. It's kind of like the same thing with Eternals. You should have done that as a series, not a 2.5-hour movie, because you get them going back forward. And there was like good story potential to show there and tell. So I think just trying to show these flashbacks a lot, they're cool, but I think you're really sacrificing some of the story of now with what's going on, or at least something like that. That's my 2 cents on the matter.
I think it's one of those ones that, yeah, we haven't maybe needed every minute of all the flashbacks we've had. I think the main one we've really needed is the one that was in, I think it was episode 2, when we see Nick meeting the young Gravik and having that speech in front of them, and Talos really standing up and putting Nick forward as their sort of savior at this moment in time. That I think was kind of needed, is the reason why then Nick had them all working for him and creating his spy network. But the other 2 that we've had, in terms of the one in this episode and maybe the one before, where it's really just a flashback to him and Vara / Priscilla meeting in a cafe, to sort of show the start maybe of where they started. Is it needed? Could you fill the story in with other bits? I think it's maybe implied that they've just become close because she was one of his spies, and they've just gone on from there. But then in the episode, we jump back to the modern day, and we get Rhodey meeting Priscilla in the church. And it obviously becomes very obvious at this point that Rhodey is a Skrull. And they have a bit of a conversation, and he instructs her to kill Fury or be killed herself. And we also get that Fury's listening into this conversation because he bugged her phone from the previous episode. And Priscilla's obviously trying to stick up and, well, trying to get Nick off the hook a bit and be like, he's old, he's weak, he's going to, give up and die soon anyway. So what's the point in killing him? And Rhodey's just like, look, either you kill him or you're going to get killed. So off you pop. How are you guys feeling about this? And because I'm going to put it out there now, whilst we get a bit more of a confirmation later on in the episode about Rhodey's being a Skrull, I have hated the fact that Rhodey was going to be a Skrull in this series. It was too obvious. It felt like it should have been a red herring, that they were propping him up to be potentially a Skrull, and then it was a bait and switch for someone else. And now we've had this confirmation. It was just coming all along. What do you guys think about Rhodey being the big Skrull from the series?
It's exactly that. It's just a gimmick. I mean, he acts so differently. I mean, I think they set up the clue in the very first scene of this show, right? When we got what's his face, who ended up being a Skrull. I'm blanking on his name right now, but
Everett Ross.
Thank you. Yes, Ross. So you see how he acts when he responds and to finding out. Look at, like, here's a Skrull, man. They're deep state. Here's literally the end game, and he's just like, what? And when in episode 2, when Fury's trying to like say like the Skrulls, man, it's the Skrulls, and same thing. Rhodey knows what's bad, and he can be a tough ass sometimes, but he's not an idiot. And he was reacting and being dismissive and be like, "Well, are you telling me this?" Like, dude, we fought freaking aliens. You time traveled. You've gone to different galaxies. Like, this is serious stuff. This shouldn't be like, well, so that's why as soon as they had that like diner conversation when he got fired, I'm like, yeah, it's an imposter. And so the fact like he's even more and more like that in this episode, I mean, Rhodey just straight up is acting like a kind of a dick. I mean, he would not act like that. So I think the whole thing is he's been a Skrull for a little bit of time, not this whole time. And another point to point out is like, he got fucked up in Civil War, and that left his lower body paralyzed. Talos got shot in the shoulder. He was having a rough time. It may have been close to his heart, but as soon as he got shot, what did he immediately start doing? Not by choice. Started shaping back into his original Skrull form. And then as soon as he got RIP, back to Skrull. So with the kind of fall damage and the hit that Rhodey took in Civil War, he should have at least showed some green. And even though you only see his helmet pop up, still, like, that dude should have been dead based off of the impact he had. So I think Rhodey just got stolen at some point because, he's a government official. He's not in the suit all the time and yada, yada. So he's probably just been a Skrull for maybe a couple of years at most. And when probably the last episode is going to be, oh, thanks, man. I've been stuck in there this whole time because we still have Armor Wars and he's going to be big in that. Yeah. So, so I don't know if I really take away. I feel good about it. I don't know. It's a weird thing.
Louis, your thoughts?
He made a lot of good points. Ever since this show was announced, Devin and I have talked about how he loves Skrulls so much. And I said, if you're going to make anyone that we've seen be a Skrull, there's only a handful of people that you can do, because it would just be silly to make like a main character a Skrull. So it would have to be a side character. And it would be, Rhodey, or I always said like Sharon Carter before she was the power broker. I guess she would be like a Skrull, or the guy that Crossbones, that I can't remember his name, Agent Frank Grillo. That's his actor's name.
Rumlow, I think his name was.
Rumlow. Yeah. See, you're a genius, my guy. Oh my goodness. Someone like that, someone inside of S.H.I.E.L.D. or Hydra, I guess. But like, for them to make Rhodey a Skrull, is that like what you said, very predictable? Yes. But is predictable always bad? I wouldn't say so. If you're going to give it, like, if you would have been, it's not actually Rhodey, it's Steve Rogers on the moon, he's a Skrull, I'd never watch another Marvel thing ever again. That's not true, but I'd be very upset. I'd be super upset. If you made my guy John Walker a Skrull, I'd be like, get out of my face. John Walker's amazing and Skrulls are lame. So get this out of my face.
What if Happy Hogan was a Skrull?
Ooh, sure. That would be rough.
That would make sense to me. Why not? Whatever. Or if like Aldrich Killian was a Skrull, or some scrub from Phase 1 or 2, or whatever, somebody that nobody remembers or cares about. Sure. If Malekith the Dark Elf was a Skrull, sure, man, whatever. But
well, got the ears,
Rhodey's
right?
like, I'd say Rhodey is the most important that you can be and still have him be a Skrull. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think that's a good shout, to be fair. You don't want it to be someone too high end, but someone who's just enough important enough and has been in enough stuff to make it impactful. So I think fair enough. I mean, touching on Devin's point as well of how long has he been a Skrull, I think I said to you, Louis, before we start recording, that if it had been any longer than, say, just after post-Endgame, it would be tragic, because you don't want Skrull Rhodey there at the moment that Tony Stark dies. That's just kind of ripping the heart out a little bit too much. So I don't see it being sort of before Endgame that he's become a Skrull. Taken and a Skrull's replaced him. So as long as, if they do it before Endgame, I think it's going to piss a lot of people off, and it's a bad move. So, but I agree with your point, Louis, about it's a high enough person to become a Skrull without it taking the piss of it being a top-notch person and ruining some of the perhaps storylines that have come before. But then in this episode, we move on then to a meeting between Gaia and Talos on a lovely little park bench in London somewhere. And Gaia gets a little bit soppy and tells him that really her place is there with him. But she's like, you've got to have a plan. You know, what's going to be your plan to do this? And he's like, you, me, Fury, we're going to take down the insurgency. Then we're going to go to the president with this big bargaining chip of, hey, we've just saved your planet from a bunch of aliens coming in and taking you over. And therefore, he's going to treat us with leniency and give us refuge here, and let's carry on. And Gaia's like, what are you doing? There's none of this sort of hit the nail on the head for you that we need to be doing our own thing. And really, you know, because there's got to be planets out there that they can go to. And it's shocking that they haven't really done this so far. But Gaia's just like, this plan of yours is stupid, it's ridiculous, and it's not part of the person I've become. I need something better than this. And gets up and walks away. So it's having that sort of impactful... Well, it's just impacted Talos that his daughter's on his side, but she doesn't really maybe believe in him and believe in him as the leader of her people. What do you guys think?
Yeah, it was a garbage plan.
It was better than 10% of a plan.
Touche.
You say there's a planet out there, but obviously I've only ever been to one planet and I'll only ever be in one planet. But like in the MCU, it seems like the planets that are habitable have people or aliens or Vebs on them. So no matter what planet they go to, they're going to be outsiders. It seems like is kind of the thing. We have a running joke on our show about Carol Danvers being the worst wedding planner of all time.
Real estate.
Because she's supposed to be real estate agent of all time, excuse me. Because she's supposed to find them a home, and it's been like 20 some odd years, and she didn't get blipped, and she still hasn't found nothing. Absolutely nothing. So, I mean, if I had to come up with a solution, you know, there's a bunch of islands that are not very populated. Maybe you make a scroll island where like people aren't
scroll island
at, and you put all the new Scrollos or whatever as an island up in the Arctic or somewhere that people just aren't gonna really go. I know the Earth is small in the grand scheme of the MCU, but like, I don't know, there's a bunch of islands where people are like, don't go to that island, they eat people there. Like,
well,
so I think there's a thing that you could do on Earth, and then while they're on there, you know, you have jobs or whatever, and somebody's job is to guard the Coast Guard as human form or whatever, to keep people at bay, and the rest of the people do their thing as their natural Skrull selves. Just a thought, but you know, who am I?
You know, the skull though, Skrull Island, you put them in the skull of the dead Celestial in the fucking ocean. The Skrulls get the skull, the Skrullos, the Skullos, you know?
It made me think of Skull Island from Scooby-Doo.
In King Kong.
Yeah, I was thinking King Kong too.
Yeah, King Kong. That works.
Oh, that's
too.
what I want. I want King Kong and fucking Godzilla coming down in Endgame. That'd be sick. Oh, that'd be
That
so
would be
fucking
pretty
sick.
to be fair.
Give me Ant-Man riding Godzilla and then fucking punches the shit out of there. That'd be dope. You know, I agree with Louis. I just like, what the fuck has Carol Danvers been doing for 2 decades? I get they're giving Fury shit because he literally said, I will find you a home. I will do it. And he didn't. And he did use them. And, you know, Talos, he called this shit a lot. And he's checking Fury. And he has no problem doing so. Also, Talos is way too romanticized with his idea of peace. Like when he literally was like, we're going to tell him, we did you a free favor. Will you please give us something in return? I know it's going to work. Bitch, have you looked at like history? I mean, it's exactly the point of what Fury was saying. It's like, we can't even handle ourselves, dude. You really think even if you do the nicest thing, like especially America, as an American we're talking about here, we're going to be nice and grant you that? No, fuck that, dude. That's not going to happen. He's going to be like, all right, thank you for saving the country. Now get on back. We don't give a shit about you. and that's going to be what happens. So I think really it comes down to it's like if they want to be in their own form, they have to have their own planet. And to an extent too, like, I mean, they're way more advanced than we are, and I get they don't have as many of their resources because their shit got blown up. But like, I don't know, man. I think there's a little bit of a there's some blame to share around on both parties, is what I'm saying. Like, just because you're abandoned and you're stuck on Earth, but goddamn, there's a million of you, and you are stronger, faster. You can fucking transform. Like, instead of trying to invade our government, why don't you try and just invade and then get your own I don't know, plan and get the fuck off our planet, and then you can search on your own. Like, sometimes you got to do it yourself, you know? Like, roll up your sleeves and just do your own thing. I don't know. I'm just maybe Elon Musk, when he shows up in that short cameo in Iron Man 2 in Italy or wherever they're racing, maybe that's the scroll, and that's why he's so fucking deranged and so obsessed with Mars and planet and blah, 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 blah. I don't know. Maybe that's what the scroll should have done. I'm just saying. But also, still, Nick Fury, he does owe very much a life debt to these scrolls. And now that Tails is dead, guys can be pissed.
Indeed.
But is he dead?
Well,
does he also have the extremis? Do we all have the extremis? Ooh, find out next week on Secret Invasion.
Doom, doom, doom. Dude, that shot when literally like the shot in his face, and then you see the extremis. I'm like, oh man, that bullet fucked him up.
Yeah.
But then he just does that, and I love that Nick Fury. Like, even his dead eye was like, oh man, what am I saying? Yeah, I'd be scared as hell.
I put obviously we were going to get to talk about that, but I literally put it on my notes, and I had to put it in capitals just to exclamate how much it was. But I was like, Fury is shook when he repairs his face from extremis. It's like, that was amazing.
It's like, can I get some of that from my eye?
It's absolutely. We're getting back to this episode. So Priscilla and Fury sort of meet at home, and they're sitting down to have some lovely tea, and they're discussing their marriage. And obviously, Priscilla's probably knowing at this point that Fury knows that she's going to try and kill him. And so she tells the story of how she chose that particular person that she's imitates. And they then at the same time recite the poem that they spoke to each other in the flashback about. And then, boom, they pull the triggers at each other. And it does this nice thing of, I thought was a nice shot of where they just went to like dead quiet scenes, but looking at other parts of their house. And you're probably waiting for the camera to turn back and expecting Priscilla to be dead and Fury to be alive. And then they're both alive because they both decided to shoot the wall instead of each other. And Fury has a great moment here and then a really cold-hearted moment when he's like, I don't know if this means that we should get divorced or renew our vows. And you think, oh, maybe he does love her. And then he's like, I'm leaving now. And she's like, would you have loved me if I'd have stayed as who I was as a Skrull? And Fury seems to kind of smile at her, and then he just kind of looks at the ground and is cold-hearted at this moment and goes, I guess we'll never know, and just walks away. I've put odds on money now that Gravik is going to kill Priscilla before the end of the series, just to motivate Fury that bit more, because he's going after everyone around Fury. And he's just going to, and now Priscilla's not fulfilled the task that was asked of her, that she's going to be the next one to be on his kill list. But this sort of scene between the two of them, any thoughts from you guys towards this? Any emotional moments for you guys that sort of teared you up, their love for each other before they depart and went on their ways?
It didn't seem like he loved her anyways, from what we've seen, Thor Love and Thunder gets a lot of flack for being not a great movie. Personally, I love that movie, but there's like that little what's the word where you put a bunch of videos together
compilation
really fast. Not the word I'm looking for, but that'll work. There's the little compilation montage. Yes, there's the little montage where they're like in love and they're riding roller skates together and they're cooking dinner and Mjolnir's there, and it's like, oh, look at how in love they were when they were together, because in the movies you don't have time to like show people being in love, obviously, but we haven't seen anything about Fury with that. Like the fact that we didn't even know Priscilla existed until episode 2, was it?
Yeah.
We've had Fury since 2008. Like, it's 2023, and we just found out that he's got a wife. So she's like, "Oh, all I've ever wanted was to be beloved," and it's like, "Well, you fucking failed at that because this guy doesn't care about you at all." It feels like. So to be like, "Would you have still loved me if I was a Skrull?" I didn't love you as this lady. Like, that's how I felt
You're right,
about
but
it.
you're right though.
I don't
dude.
know.
You're right.
Yeah.
Like, how could I love you as a Skrull? I don't love you as this lady. I don't love you as anybody. Unless you're Steve Rogers, I don't give a shit about you. Or if you're not Bruce Banner or
Carol Danvers,
Maria Hill or Carol Danvers, you could not obviously, you can honestly fuck off for all I care. Whatever.
Yeah.
So that's how I interpreted the thing. Maybe they did have like a nice loving marriage. I don't think so, but because it seemed like he was always busy, and then he was blipped, and then as soon as he got back, he went to space. So it's like, did you love me even anyways? And then he could have stared at the ground and said, "I guess we'll never know," because it just doesn't seem like the best marriage of all time.
Yeah.
It's
I don't know.
Fair.
It's I don't know. I just when they did the shot, it just made me think of like, you ever watch Mr. and Mrs. Smith with Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie? They're both assassins. They end up having each other's targets.
Angelina?
That was funny. But also was thinking like Marriage Story and just cracks me up. But like I'm with you, Lou. I mean, we've been with Nick Fury for a long time. Priscilla, we've only had for 4 weeks, and so it's like, how do you even really have any attachment to this character? Or like, I haven't felt any empathy to like really invest in her, because I feel like the whole point is she's just going to be a one and done in the show anyways. As soon as she showed up on screen, oh my god, yeah, he's got a wife. What? After that, it's kind of like, whatever, and move on. The one thing I want to know, and I have a feeling we're going to get this in the next episode, and I'm confused about this because of what happened later on in episode 4. We see that it was Priscilla, right? Or her name is Skrull name is Vera. Is that it? Vera?
Yeah, Vara. Yeah.
Vara. She's the one who introduces Gravik as a child to Fury, correct? In episode 2 or 3.
Yeah.
So my thing is, I thought basically his family, quote unquote, was Vara and Gravik. And so I felt like that was why Gravik is so good at what he does. I think he's just an angsty, angry version of Fury, because Fury raised him or taught him, or at least like had him under his wing. And I felt like that's why it was very personal why he's going after Fury as much. A, he's the biggest threat, but B, it's also like, fuck you, Dad. I'm coming for you, Dad. But then when Fury just fucking takes not one, but 2 shots at the guy and even lands a really good, nasty one on that head, I was like, man, if he really like cared about Gravik, like his son, a little bit, I feel like that would be his like where he hesitates a little bit or even tries to miss. But no, he was going for that kill shot. So I don't know. But I wouldn't be surprised if we get a flashback of like Fury teaching Kid Gravik something, or give him a lesson, or because like clearly there's
like
some
Yondu and Quill.
Yeah, but there's like some like pent up frustration and angst and resentment towards Fury. I know it's because of the planet thing. I'd be pissed too, but there's definitely something more personal that I feel like hasn't been unearthed yet. But we only got 2 episodes left, so I don't know what we're gonna see.
I know what you mean. Maybe that's going to be, because I thought maybe something similar in terms of he's had a hand raising him or teaching him stuff. Maybe that's the flashback we get in the next episode at the start. It's like
it's true.
2015, and he's been teaching him some stuff. So who knows? We will obviously have to wait and see, won't we? But we move on in this episode, and we get this proper reveal. Yep, Rhodey's a Skrull, and not only a Skrull, a female Skrull. We see her having a shower. She gets out, wraps herself in a towel, and then changes into Fury, into Rhodey, and then we get this conversation between Skrull Rhodey and Fury, where they're having this really nice, was it whiskey? And you kind of can tell that Fury obviously is in the know already, because everything he's saying to Rhodey is quite patronizing. He's like, "Did you know that there are Skrulls close to the president? As close as you and I are, even closer."
Mhm.
And it's just very patronizing. I know what the situation is, kind of chat from Fury to him. And Rhodey's being that sort of dickish Skrull that we've seen so far in this series. He's just being very flippant. He's like, you coming at me with wild conspiracy theories, doesn't matter. But hey, look at this video of you killing Maria Hill. And I'm doing my best to keep this out of your way and it not be put on you. But hey, if you're going to fuck with me, this is what's going to happen. Everyone's going to get to see this. And obviously, Rhodes basically tells him to get lost. But we see that obviously Nick Fury, a little bit sneaky, and he's had a liquid tracker in that whiskey that he's been downing, and so he's able to see where he's off to. Was there any worthwhile bits in this conversation, or was it basically like Fury almost tipping his hand a little bit to Rhodey and going, I know this situation, I'm alive, you didn't succeed with Priscilla killing me, and why don't you just let me sort of do my thing? What do you guys reckon?
Even when I'm out, I'm in. And he showed him that he's been in the whole time. And now he's literally in him in a very weird way. But to me, that felt good, though, because, well, that's phrasing. I'm going to call myself out on that one. It felt good to see Fury showing that, this dude's got the upper hand. He knows his shit. I still think that limp was a fake limp because he does it like as soon as he starts to see Hill, like, to make it seem like he's weak. But I don't know if it was a good plan, but I don't know. It was fun to see the Skrull kind of like sweat under pressure too, being the imposter. Like, I don't know, here, blackmail. And it's like, you really think that's going to scare him off? Like, what's he got to lose?
Louis? I
just wanted to say, I was talking to you, Andy, before Devin got on. I was like, that Skrull, I thought it was Gaia at first because, call me politically incorrect, call me whatever you want. All Skrulls look the same to me. I don't know. I can't tell the difference between one Skrull and another. I've only seen a few of them. So I can't explain why that Skrull looked female to me, but she did. It did. They did. Anyways, I got out of the shower or whatever, and the Skrull put the towel over the chest area. I was like, that must be Gaia. And then, swipes the mirror, becomes Rhodey. And I was like, why did they cover their boobs if it was just going to be Rhodey? And then Andy was like, that was a girl Skrull. And I said, once again, call me politically incorrect, whatever, but like, it never crossed my mind that like a girl Skrull can take shape of a man for whatever reason. It makes perfect sense, but it just didn't click in my dumb head. So yeah, Rhodey's a girl Skrull. Now, Andy was sharing a lovely thought with me before Devin got on as well, but I was like, now in my head, I'm like, is Gaia also Rhodey? And then now I just have no idea what's happening anymore. So yeah,
I don't think so.
That's where that was.
Based on context.
Yeah, I don't know. But anyways, the conversation, yeah, he was drinking that really expensive whiskey. And then he shows him this video. And for whatever reason, I don't know why it doesn't work, but I'm sure there's a reason and you guys will explain it to me. But I feel like Fury or somebody that's trying to stop the Skrulls at some point just needs to bring a Skrull, dead or alive, to the higher up government and just be like, check this shit out. Here's a Skrull. They're aliens. They're here. Like, don't trust anything you see. Kind of like what we've been told as the audience. They have to like reveal to the actual world is like, hey, we've got aliens, guys. And they can be literally anybody. So I know that's me shooting her in the thing, but I swear it's not me. And obviously you can swear anything and you could be lying, but it's just like, that's not me and I can prove it. Here's the proof, but that's also me shooting her. Well, it's not me. And this is why. And then Gaia or Dead Talos or something is standing there. We're all scrolled out. I don't know why that doesn't happen or hasn't happened or might happen, but that's kind of where I'm at.
I think there is a name for that particular thing that you just described. I think it's called plot armor, because that would be far too easy, surely. So just go, hey, let's reveal them to the world. I mean, I know in a previous bit as well, Taylor said to Gravik in their meeting, he's like, I'm going to go to all the leaders, tell them all about you. And it's just like, why the fuck haven't you done that already? That's like, I don't understand I mean, obviously it's too easy to maybe do that, but if that was what he's threatening to do and it was going to help stop them, why haven't they done that already?
But is it too easy though? I mean, let's look at real world politics, right? I mean, granted, this is a fictional world where aliens are actually legit, but can you imagine if the government of any major power today said, hey, we found out that there's a ship, not only are aliens fucking real, they've been here this whole time, and oh, by the way, they can shapeshift. You can't tell a difference. Oh, and there's 1 million of them. Just with how crazy people are with like, hey, you know that virus that is killing people? No, it's not that. It's the 5G towers and blah, blah, blah. Foaming at the mouth. You know, don't mean to get politics into this in a somewhat political show with narratives like that. But it's the same thing. It's like, if you found that out and they told the public that, you're going to immediately get people believing it, not believing it. And like, can you even trust that the person who just said that is not of that person or that alien species? Like, you might, it's just, you're going to get pure on chaos. And I think that's the fallacy right there with, what's his face? Talos, is just because he's too genuine, but he's doubting. He's like, just because I changed, I know everyone else can. And it's like, bitch, are you kidding me? Like, you may be able to physically shapeshift, but like not everyone else is going to mentally do it. Excuse me.
I understand what you're saying about the world that we live in. If say, I don't know, the president came on and he was like, yo guys, check this shit out. Alien shapeshifts, does the whole nine. I work with a guy who has completely different political views than me. That's perfectly fine. We are all entitled to our opinions. He wouldn't believe it. I would, so on and so forth. Yes. But let's say 5 years ago, half of existence disappeared because of a big purple alien. I don't know if the people know that Thanos was a thing. I think they do, because they write Thanos.
Yeah.
Thanos was right on the urinals and shit. So they know aliens are real, and they know that like aliens are a whole ass thing. So I think that, I think that it's easier to be like, hey guys, you remember Thanos and how he was an alien? And everyone would be like, yeah. And they'd be like, yeah, there's other aliens here too. And there's a lot of them. And they're not like Thanos, but they kind of are. And they're going to be like, oh my fucking God, when does this end? When does this nightmare end? So that's just, I think in our world, had Thanos happened, we'd be a lot easier to digest other aliens as well.
Also, one point I forgot, is another piece of my shitty argument, is, remember No Way Home? What happened with that fake video? Mysterio forever.
Yeah.
Like, people thought Peter killed him. And that was an easy manipulation. And even when he got cleared, people were still saying, no, you fucking murderer, you did it. Like, we know as the viewers, we have that situational irony. We know the truth. We know what happened. But still, like, that's even just lower scale, like how dumb people are.
Yeah, that's a fair point. People are people, and some are going to believe it, some aren't they? So I think it may be in the MCU world, with everything that's happened to them, from Loki and the Chitauri invading through to post Blip, that maybe it's a bit more believable for them to think this had happened and that there were shape-shifting people out there. So yeah, I think I'm still on the side of, I think it'd be easier for them to go out there and Taylor to have done that and gone, hey, because you could have credible people still coming forward and gone, yeah, go and test the blood of the British Prime Minister. Yeah, give them a little fingerprint and see what happens to them. See if that's truly British blood that they're bleeding, or if it's purple blood. Go and see what's going on there. But
Off of
that's
their
something
heads.
I think they are still going. It's exactly. I think that's still that they'll maybe have to address in the future with this particular set of skills that the scrolls bring and how the world adapts to them. But
Mhm.
we get to the end of this episode, and it's pretty sort of lengthy, really, scene that we get here that sort of wraps it all up. And again, shocking events and following on from the conclusion of the last episode to what happened in this. So we get the US president arriving in England, and his motorcade is attacked by Gravik and Pagan is number 2, and a bunch of other scrolls posing as Russians. And whilst they're having the big fight, obviously, Skrull Rhodey's just sat in his car with his arms folded, like, "Yep, hurry up, let this be over." And then Fury and Talos arrive, and Gravik kind of looked genuinely worried when he'd seen that Fury had arrived. And we finally get to see Gravik using his group powers that we got to see in the trailer as well. And I was shocked that it was actually, I thought maybe it'd be slightly adapted so his arms wouldn't be so much Groot-like in terms of like being proper like tree branches and stuff, but it wrapped around that poor guy and crushed him to death. So they're still having this big battle. British reinforcements arrive. And you've got Fury and Talos trying to get the American president out of the car. And Talos decides he's going to brute force punch his way through the bulletproof thick glass to get him out. And then Talos gets shot in the shoulder, and he's injured. And you mentioned earlier on, is he's trying to still break that glass to free the president. Because he's injured, he's slowly turning back into a Skrull and losing his sort of, his human face. And they manage to get the president out. And Fury's taking him to his car, and it seems like one of the British soldiers picks up Talos, and he's like, "I've got you, bud. Let's get you out as well." President gets been put into Fury's car, and it turns around, and his soldiers are staring Fury down, and Fury realizes instantly this ain't a soldier. This is going to be one of the other guys. Shoots him a couple of times, turns into Gravik, who then just instantly turns around and just stabs Talos. Looks like pretty much in the heart, and he drops to the ground. Fury does his Vader impression, and he goes, "No!" and then decides to shoot Gravik in the face, and that's when we get that amazing scene where you see this half cheek that's not there, and then it comes back in through the extremis, and as I mentioned, Fury looks shook at this. And something that I think Fury's a bit of an arsehole for this at the end of the episode, and you guys can tell me if you think I'm wrong about this, but he gets in the car to get the president to safety and leaves Talos behind. If this has been effectively his best friend for the last 30 years, seems a really shitty move to just leave, even if he thinks he's dead or not. It shouldn't matter, really. You should pick Talos up, get him in the car as well, and speed off. And that effectively draws the episode to an end. So this whole attack scene at the end and what happens there between Gravik, Fury, and Talos, really impactful for the end of the episode. How did you guys feel about this whole situation?
I'm going to start. I would like to voice my displeasure. When Miss Marvel came out, I was like, these are not Miss Marvel's powers. They're just giving her extra powers just because. And it was weird to me. And now Super Skrull in the Marvel lore has the powers of the Fantastic Four. And we're going to get the Fantastic Four. So I don't really understand why they're just giving them random powers that are kind of like the Fantastic Four. It's so strange to me. So and it seems like for the last 2 episodes, we're just going to get the other 2 powers, whatever, Cull Obsidian and the Frost Beast or whatever. Mm-hmm. It seems like you're getting 1 power an episode. Last episode was the Extremis. This one, you get the Groot arm. So it's just weird that it's like not the powers of the Fantastic Four like it's supposed to be. And I understand why it's not, because we haven't met those people yet, so it wouldn't make any sense at all to give them the powers. But could this have waited until after we saw the Fantastic Four, maybe? So that was strange. It's still strange to me that they're doing that, but I mean, it's just nitpicking, I guess. The other thing, like you said, he's got to pick up Talos and get him into I guess the most important thing right now is to get the president to safety, because reasons. And then the other thing would be Gravik is like not dying and he's still there. And so it's just like Nick Fury's 80-year-old ass can't lift up a whole nother man. Well, I guess he's a Skrull, but a whole nother being and put him into a car, especially if it's dead weight. So he's just got to kind of do what he can do and get the president to safety.
Fair enough.
I think,
Devin?
yeah, I think. So part of the like the scrolls too, they find out that they can actually replicate the powers too of all the heroes. That's a pretty big issue. So I think that's why it's okay that they're not at the Fantastic Four right now. Because like there's a fucking Mjolnir wielding scroll. There's Iron Man. There's Spider Man. They're everywhere. And they have the powers. So that's why it's scary. But I think if they wrote it like this, I see it as if they had Fury take Talos instead of the president, I think it would have been easier for one of two things: Gravik just to kill the president flat out, and then bam, that's on Fury. And then the other thing is, if you see Fury with a wounded Talos trying to like take him to cover, I think at that point Gravik just goes, "Dope, 2 kills for 1," and just instantly wipes them both off the checkerboard, and then done. But then you don't have a show, you don't have drama. Also, Gravik is clearly super powerful. I mean, it cut off right there. But if he really wanted to, couldn't he just kill Talos like he did right there? And then his Fury is like in watching disbelief. Gravik could literally just go, Groot, get over here, Mortal Kombat style, crush the mofo, and then, from ash to ash, dust to dust, and then he's gone. So probably won't happen. Maybe this is my prediction. Next episode, because this is what I was saying on last week's episode, is that Gaia is going to be the a fighter in our ring for the humans, who can go toe to toe because she snuck in, got the Super Scroll kind of get up too. So that's the only one who could really fight against Gravik right now, since she's learned to oppose him. So I think it's just she's going to become Fury's prize fighter. And so my guess is next episode is going to pick up immediately from the end of that attack on the president, and Guy's going to slip in there, and then she's going to be the one who like punches the shit out of Gravik, and he's going to be like, "What? You're alive? Blah, blah, blah. Who saw this coming? Not me. Not clearly the guy who puts a whole cup of sugar inside of his 2-ounce coffee mug." And so that's going to be how the Deus Ex Machina kind of happens, kind of like Carol Danvers saving Fury's ass and all that. So I think she's going to show up. Then they split and then figure it out from there.
I have 2 opposing theories as to whether Talos is really dead. One that supports it and one that goes kind of against it. My wild theory, I guess, is that he isn't dead, and that he's picked up by the British soldiers that were there at the end of the episode, and it's revealed in the next episode that he's now under the care of Sonia Falsworth, the British MI6 lady that we've seen some of the other episodes with Fury and stuff, and that she's then interrogating him to find out more about a bit more information about what's going on and the Skrull situation. And she gets in contact with Fury, and that's how they maybe get back together. The one that maybe doesn't support that he makes it out of this episode, and again, I refer to maybe a slight spoiler in the trailer, is the fact that we do see a shot in the trailer of what looks like the field and forest area, and there's a body on the floor with Gaia sort of stood over it crying and wreckage around her. It looks exactly like the end of this scene, and the fight that's gone on. So that was part of my evidence for supporting that Gaia didn't die, because we see her in the scene that we hadn't seen yet.
Yep.
And we haven't seen this scene yet. So at the start of the next episode, I think Gaia arrives and she's there crying over Talos' body, and he is actually gone. And if it is, this episode has really hit the niche for killing people off without a big sacrifice. They did it with Maria Hill at the start. I've cried about this many times on this podcast about the fact that I hate sometimes everyone making it through all these battles and all these wars, and not many of our heroes being killed off. And if they are, they're killed off in a spectacular fashion as a martyr or a big death for the cause. So to have maybe both Maria Helen, okay, he saved the president in this episode, so you could say it was a big thing that he's done, but still to be killed off in this way by Gravik is maybe not the end that Talos would deserve.
Mhm.
Those are just my two theories. Opposing theories as to what may happen at the start of the next episode.
It's good theories. I totally
But,
forgot about Fars Fallsworth.
Carry on.
Yeah, Sonia, I totally forgot about her, and I really am curious to see what her true place in this story is.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see because we don't get her in this episode at all. Been a bit part player so far, and I'm expecting her to have a slightly bigger role in the bits to come. But what are you guys expecting then from the last two episodes and the way that this story is going to get wrapped up?
They've all been
Well-
scrolls this whole time. Everyone.
All 9 billion humans are actually all Skrulls anyway, and they just haven't worked out yet.
We're all scrolls.
Well, I think the president's going to die, and I think we're going to get a Harrison Ford cameo in the last episode as Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross, Harrison Ford, mustache, be like, guess who's the president now, bitches? And then he's going to pull out his whip, do his whole Harrison Ford thing. Yeah. So I think that might happen. I've been predicting like a Captain Marvel-esque cameo. I still think we'll get Monica Rambeau in some fashion to kind of get us from this to the Marvels. Maybe Devin said that Gaia's the prize fighter. Maybe Monica Rambeau comes in and tries to help against Gravik. Granted, she's not as well known, so if the Skrulls disguise themselves as her, start running amok, it's not like everyone's gonna be like, that's whatever her name is in the show, Phase or whatever the hell. They're not gonna be like, that's Monica Rambeau. We all know who Monica Rambeau is. No, nobody knows who that is, except for the people that do, obviously. But it's not like, oh my God, Tony Stark just killed a school full of children. No, it's going to be Monica Rambeau. They're going to be like, wow, that lady just killed. So it's not as high stakes if Monica Rambeau comes in. And also, like I said, it would kind of segue us into the next show. I feel like Gravik is not going to make it out of this show. And I also kind of feel like, no, I'm wrong. I was going to say, I don't feel like Fury. I don't feel like Fury makes it out of this show, but the problem with trailers is that they spoil fucking everything, so you can't enjoy anything. So yeah, he'll fucking make it another 100 years because he's Nick Fury, and that's what happens. Devin, on with you.
Chef's kiss. I agree with a lot of your points, Lou, but I was going to say, in terms of final predictions for the show, I mean, there's no way we don't get a Marvels tie-in, at least even like showing us like returning back to Saber, and maybe that's where we see the gang. And then who knows, maybe that's when we see Monica or someone else get that like weird transformation or they do the play swap or something that happens. That'd be my guess. What else? Oh, I was gonna say there's freaking. Oh, wait, I want to say that. Thinking of Scrolls, I think I am blanking on it right now. What was I going to say? I feel like, with Thunderbolt Ross, that's probably going to be another opportunity to bring someone else into the fold too for the Thunderbolts. Maybe we even see Ghost, or we see what's her face, Taskmaster. But it would also make no sense. I don't know. I think if I'm being honest, not even saying like what like this is going to happen. I think just following the trend of final episodes really not sticking the landing across all Disney Plus streaming services. I think this last episode, if it's less than an hour, I think it's not gonna do well. I think it's just gonna be all right, now the invasion's over. And on to the next thing. It's just gonna, because like this is also surprising. There hasn't been any post-credit scenes. We're 4 out of 6. So if we get one, which my guess is we're only gonna get one, and it's gonna be in episode 6. So I don't know.
Well, is it possible that maybe we get Thaddeus Ross and then the scroll thing comes to light and Thaddeus Ross is like, you know what, I'm going to assemble a team to take care of these scrolls. Maybe Gravik doesn't die, and then you find out like the scrolls or something is going to be one of the antagonists for the Thunderbolts. Now, if you guys know who the antagonist for the Thunderbolts is, please don't tell me. But is that possible? I would say maybe. You know, Thaddeus comes in, he's like, you know what, these damn scrolls. And then Fury's like, yeah, I'm tired of these motherfucking scrolls on this motherfucking planet. And then they assemble, you know, John Walker and the Red Guardian and all of Louis' favorite people. And then also Taskmaster. So, yeah, I feel like that's a possibility. Maybe, possibly. Also, Nick Fury's got an ace up his sleeve, and I haven't seen it yet. And it's really starting to bug the shit out of me because... like, where the hell is Goose the Flurkin? They're so afraid of the Flurkin. And it's like, hey, man, you think you're so fucking cool with your extremis? Check this motherfucker out. Fucking, it's gone. Anyways, fucking octopus cat. Let's go. So, I don't know.
Cool. I totally forgot about that.
I think that's a good shout. It's a good shout because we see Flurkin in the Marvels trailer. So we're even getting a whole little herd of kitten Flurkins. So, yep, I love that pop.
Okay, hear me out.
But
this is the absurd thing. This is more absurd than like Quake showing up from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. What if somehow they do that weird Super Scroll science majig and they make Gaia infused with Flurkin biology and stuff. So then she is now super duper scroll because she now has the power of a Flurkin. Whatever the Flurk that is supposed to be, it'd be kind of gross. I'm not gonna lie. She was like, blah, and did all the fucking tentacle mouth. Some people get off on it. I'm not one of them. But if she did that, oh man, yeah. Now Queen, hands down, she conquered. That's my.
That sounds pretty Flurkin dumb, honestly.
It's pretty
definitely out there.
It's pretty stupid. But if it happens, I mean. Cheers.
What do you think, Andy?
If that happens at the end of the show, you know, the guy gets infused with Flurkin DNA, then I will send you my entire Star Wars collection. As payment for coming up with the wildest theory I've heard this year.
Not accept it. Thank you though, but
I don't think I'd send it either, to be fair. But I don't think I'd give it up, to be fair. But
shipping alone,
yeah, it's
Jesus.
definitely wild. I do like the idea of Ross showing up at the end of it. I mean, he's not the one that puts the Thunderbolts team together. That's Valerie, isn't it? The head of the CIA that's going to be putting them together. Right. But the idea of Ross showing up and potentially being the president because the president gets killed in this one, I don't hate that idea, actually. Valentina, is it? Sorry, did I say Valerie?
Valentina, yeah.
We know what you're talking about, though.
Val. We'll just call her Val. But yeah, I don't hate the Ross theory, to be fair. And yeah, I want to see what's happened to the Flurkin. Yeah, I think a lot of us have forgotten, to be fair, about that. So let's wrap up the series by having Flurkin and Ross show up, and that would be a good end to it, I think. So
heck yeah. So
let's end the episode then with your sort of quick. I say quick and then pause dramatically.
Dun, dun, dun.
What is the most anticipated MCU project that's coming up?
Ooh, most anticipated.
What's the one project you're most looking forward to out of everything?
Ah, man,
Kraven the Hunter.
I cannot support. I cannot support this. I'm afraid.
He said MCU, bro.
I'm just.
I know.
I was kidding.
I know.
For me, it's probably Captain America: Brave New World.
Nice. Devon?
I'll say Loki season 2. That's a safe bet.
Good shout. Good shout.
Yeah. How about you?
I would have said Deadpool 3, but Deadpool 3 is just getting ruined for me all over the internet. So Captain America,
Dude,
Brave New World, while it's still not getting ruined for me all over the internet.
there are some bad set leaks that are going out now. Like there's something I don't know what you've seen, Louis, but there was something I saw that even I was kind of like, fuck. It's I think it's gonna be funny as hell. But it was one of those things I was like,
are you talking about the particular sites?
Okay, there you go. He took his
What are we
headphones
doing
off.
right now?
Louis does not fuck with spoilers, man. Like literally in a theater, he will go full on like Sound Deprivator 3000 avoiding trailers.
I'm not going to say it outright, but Devon, you should know what I'm talking about. If you have a particular crumbling sign.
Yes.
Mm.
Yes.
If anyone else wants to know that is, just look it up. It would be pretty easy to find. So we haven't taken Louis' little virginity on knowing what that was. That's all good. He can remain unbroken in that knowledge.
It's just, I should be so excited for this movie, and I feel like I've already seen most of it at this point. Now it's just making me upset.
I think we're getting a trailer
Andy,
soon.
what is?
Well, I mean, just touching on Deadpool before I maybe sort of go to what my choice is, but I've heard that maybe, obviously, have you guys heard of the comic book of like Deadpool kills the Marvel Universe?
Yeah.
That this could be a slight adaptation of that, and like Deadpool kills the Fox universe before coming over to the MCU. That would be quite a nice adaptation.
Tagline.
I've heard that too.
Deadpool 3. It's foxed up.
I think. Louis
we're
hangs
doing the
his head in
thing.
shame at having to share the
We're doing the
screen.
thing. Aw, scroll head touch. It's our new thing.
I think I've said before, I'm pretty much looking forward the most. Outside of, to be fair, I'm really looking forward to Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars, but
Hell yeah.
those, I think that's the thing everyone's going to look forward to. If you're talking about everything outside of that, Daredevil has been top of my list.
Daredevil's gonna be that's a good. That's when I was tossed up. I was thinking about saying, but it just got announced today. SAG, Afro, whatever. They're now on strike. So now it's the Writers Guild. Now it's also the Screen Actors Guild, which means pretty serious business. And this is why all these studios canceled ahead of time, like a month ago, of all the San Diego Comic-Con experience, like panels and shit, because part of the strike requires that these Screen Actor Guild participants, they can't even do like promo. They can't do appearances. They can't do anything. So even your local Comic-Con guys, you're probably gonna see people dropping off. It's gonna be. We'll see how long this goes, but basically, with all these push-backs and everything, don't expect a lot of these things announced at last year's Comic-Con with Phase 5 and 6 and shit. Don't expect a lot of it to be coming out anymore in a reasonable time. Also, expect a lot of the story to shift because they have a lot of glue to hodgepodge this mess. So,
absolutely,
we'll see you in the theaters for Secret Wars Part 1 in 2037.
I will literally be 50 by the time that comes out, I think, at this rate. So hopefully not.
Hey, maybe we'll have kids by then,
I'm
right?
hyped for Daredevil.
Bring the grandkids while we're at it. Fuck
Definitely. Yeah, I'm hyped for Daredevil. Punisher's up there as like one of my top 3 favorite Marvel characters. So hyped to get John Berthel back to do that. And obviously we're getting Kingpin, which we know we'll get a bit more Daredevil and Kingpin in Echo. But yeah, I'm seriously looking forward to Daredevil. And Loki season 2 probably goes in number 2 slot outside of the Avengers films as well. So I love season 1. Like to see where they're going to go with that story. But
good show.
Gentlemen, thank you so much for coming on this week and having a really good chat and a little bit of fun as well. It's been an absolute pleasure. Can you just tell everyone at home exactly where they can find your podcast and your social media? And and Louis looks as if he hasn't got a clue because I heard the last episode you guys did. And Devon put all that pressure on Louis to tell everyone exactly where you all were, and Louis went on bravely for quite some time.
I can do it. It's going to take a while. I'll let Devon take this one.
I'll give Louis a break on that one. Go check it out. It's chaotic. It's amazing. Dude, honestly, first off, thank you so much for having us on your show. We were talking about the time zone differences is insane and not easy to do. So we really appreciate you willing to spend your evening with us.
Oh, thank you.
It's been a lot of fun, and me and Louis have to go to therapy now because of our dinner experiences. But no, it's been great. So if you guys want to check out some of our crazy ass scroll antics, you find Earth 894 Podcast literally everywhere you listen to podcast apps. We have our website, earth894podcast.com. You can check out all our episodes, some cool stuff on there, and we have a merch store, yada yada. But yeah, interact with us. We got our own Discord, Instagram. We're on Threads now, so throw the needle, get in our space, and look forward to chatting with you. And we will happily love you. I've got blanked out on words, but we'd love to have you
Good
on
job.
our podcast sometime soon.
Good job.
Thanks, buddy.
No.
Also, green apple ice cream is real. Fucking deal with it. Yeah, that's what happens when you give me the mic, bitch.
It's not real. It's not.
It's real, dude.
I'm sorry.
It's real.
We've come onto your podcast, caused such chaos, and now I have to yell at this guy about green apple ice cream again.
It's
Do not
called.
worry about it.
It's called Secret Invasion, right? So you gotta get in the theme, dude. You gotta go and bring a little bit of your own Secret Invasion to other shows. That's how we do it. Now that's method. That's method acting. That's method podcasting or something. I think we're done here.
I love you
But Thank you
guys.
so much, man. We love it.
I love you guys.
Hell yeah, dude.
It's been great. Like everyone, definitely go and check out the Earth 894 podcast. Definitely worth a good laugh. And these two, definitely, like I said, are well loved by the community. They've got a great ongoing podcast, so definitely worth checking out. I will be back next week with episode 5. Obviously, the week before we wrap this all up, and then episode 6 is going to be a good roundup to see exactly where this story's gone, and I can see how bad all my predictions have been for this series. But if you've liked the episode, give us a like, give us a follow, give us a review, and I'll be back next time. Thanks very much, everyone. See you later.
Bye.